If you're gonna collect or invest in trading card games, you're gonna need liquidity. Oh God, why did I use cold water? Well, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. My name is Louie. I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. Welcome back to the world of collectible trading card games. Today we're going to be talking obviously about liquidity in your collection, whether that be Flesh and Blood, Pokemon, Magic, Metazoo, whatever you collect. I think this definitely applies in the trading card world with liquidity. And honestly, a lot of us in this industry, and if you're like me, and if you're not some big wig, super wealthy person and don't have a huge business and lots of things, if you're like me, a lot of your collection is part of like your savings account a little bit. And that's like a terrible advice. This is not financial advice, but in the reality, a lot of us have more money built up in our trading card collections than we do in like disposable income or things that are in our savings account. And as a result of that, you have to be responsible with what you collect or invest in or buy. You need to have liquidity. We see this all the time happen in the Facebook groups, in the marketplaces, wherever someone says, hey, I got in a car accident, or hey, I had some life things happen, hey, I have some injuries, or I have some medical stuff going on, and I need money, and so I'm selling my cards. I don't want to sell the cards, but I'm selling my cards. A lot of us look at our collections as savings accounts or funds for things that go wrong, and as a result, you need to have liquidity built into your collection or your investing. So for those of you who don't know what liquidity is, just real quick, let's go through it real quick. It's the idea that not all products are equal. In other words, if you have a $300 revised dual land, it's going to be a lot easier to sell than a $300 7th edition foil. The amount of people who want a revised dual land is just more than the amount of people who want a 7th edition revised foil. So a revised dual land is more liquid than a 7th edition a 7th edition foil. You can make the same argument for $300 worth of $1 cards compared to a revised dual land. This is the difference between $3,000 in first edition Majestics from Arcane Rising or Alpha and an Alpha box. A $3,000 Alpha box is going to be much, much more liquid than $3,000 worth of singles. It's just the way that it is. Be easier to sell. It's the same thing as a sealed theme decks versus a Cryptid Nation first edition booster box. If you have $800 worth of theme decks, your Cryptid Nation first edition booster box is going to be more liquid. It's easier to move. The market that is looking to buy those is higher, and it applies to all those things. So you need to evaluate your collection for its liquidity rate. You need to take a step back and say, what is it that I'm purchasing? We all like singles, right? Like we all like having cards. We like that. We like having individual cards and we like collecting those because looking at boxes on the wall is great and like I like it, but looking at cards and holding the cards is just playing with the cards is what this is really about. That being said, if you just invest in just the things that you just like, you're not having that liquidity event, that opportunity to easily turn your capital, your investments into actual resources that you can spend, because you can't go like to Walmart and, I don't know, use Alpha cards. It's just not the way that it works. When you need money, you need liquidity, so you have to evaluate the liquidity rate of your collection. You also need a sales channel. This is so important. I've talked about this a little bit on the channel. You also need a sales channel in order to cash in on that liquidity. You have to have an opportunity, a way to sell the cards. You have to have a way to move them. And I think a lot of us in this world of 15% eBay fees and TCG player fees and whatever, we tend to go towards Facebook or Discord for our marketplaces, and that's a great way to start. But I think you can only take those things so far, and I'm not a fan of paying 15% fees on eBay. But if you want things to be liquid, you're going to need to have those accounts in order. One of the things that I would do is I would make a Facebook post or a Discord post, I'd leave it up for a day, and if it doesn't sell and I need the money, then I will go ahead and put it on eBay because the market is so much bigger, and then you can also do things like auctions that are more of like a guaranteed sale. And that's really important to have those sales channels and those avenues, I know you're paying 15% fees, but you're paying that fee for the liquidity, for the wider marketplace, for the advertisement. You're paying that fee for a reason, and that adds to the liquidity of your product. So you, as a consumer, as a collector, as an investor, as a whatever, you, even as a player, you really need to spend some time practicing and honing your eBay skills, honing your TCG player skills, and getting your accounts up to those seller levels. If you're on TCG player, do some time, put up some rares and commons and whatever, and get your seller account to a level 4 that gets you access to all the seller tools. If you're an eBay seller, put up some stuff that you have, just, commander decks, leftover things that you can just move and flush through to allow you to get that seller level on eBay up and get some ratings, so that if you do get into a point where you need to sell something like an alpha box or something like a first edition Metazoo box or some sort of sealed Magic product for that liquidity, you have the homework done and you don't have to back up. So, with great power comes great responsibility, and with great collections comes great responsibility for you and your personal finances. I'm not just trying to preach at you to have your finance. That's not my place, right? But I think as somebody who emphasizes collecting in this hobby, it wouldn't be doing my job to not remind you that life does happen, and there are times when you will need to sell things. There are times where things are going to come up, and if you don't have a savings account, you probably need to be working on that. But a lot of us aren't. A lot of you aren't going to listen to that advice. A lot of you aren't going to listen to that advice, and you're going to keep buying collections. And so then you have to have the ability to liquidate your stuff. With great collection comes the great responsibility of being able to liquidate part of that collection if your life does go south in any direction. So if your savings is in your cards, you need to have liquidity built in. And here's some suggestions for you. If you are involved in this channel, here's some things that I think are highly, highly liquid in our current marketplaces. Alpha, Arc, and Crucible of War boxes, those first edition, the original 3 boxes for Flesh and Blood are extremely liquid. We've seen a metric ton of them popping up on eBay. I think something like in the last month, there's been 25 listings or something like that have sold right at that price point of 3,000. They are incredibly liquid. You've got Mothman slabs from Cryptid Nation. Those have balanced out that they're basically same as cash, and the same with Cryptid Nation first edition booster boxes. They fluctuate in price, maybe between $600 and $800, but there is always somebody looking to buy those boxes. And let's talk about sealed product for a second. Even the newer sealed product can be extremely liquid. If you're talking about Everfest booster boxes, or Tales of Aria first edition booster boxes, or Wilderness booster boxes, or Nightfall booster boxes, even though the sealed market might not be as liquid for those things because the supply of those are so much higher than their original counterparts, you can still break those into singles, especially if you're a store and you have this TCG player store going. Actually, not even if you're a store. If you've got a TCG player account going and you can break those things into singles move very quickly, and you're splitting your liquidity up into played cards that move on the market. So it's definitely something to consider. And then the last thing is Magic the Gathering reserve list staples continue to be the most liquid cards in all of TCGs. Maybe the only thing that you could convince me would be more liquid is Charizards from Pokemon, just the kind of key Charizards that you like, the base set, the big 3 base set, Charizard, Venusaur, and Blastoise. Those are incredibly liquid as well. But reserve list Magic, talking dual lands and your Wheels of Fortunes and those cards that are just iconic from the reserve list are extremely liquid. And Magic, the product is so old that sealed product is not nearly as liquid as current Flesh and Blood stuff is, or current Metazoo stuff is at those higher price points, because just this scarcity and the amount of, you just don't see that many moving because of the scarcity of them. So I think newer age Magic product sealed It's still very liquid, but if you want the real kind of older stuff that is liquid, I think reserveless singles are certainly the way to go. So that being said, make sure you have liquidity built into your collection. Start working towards that now, as opposed to when crap hits the fan and your life blows up and you get in a car accident. You know, I hope that does not happen to you, but when something happens, you have to have that liquidity. So start working on that liquidity so that you have that when it comes time to do that. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Remember to be kind to the people around you, and we'll see you again next video.